Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my review for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So yeah, I saw this today with my friend, and I had heard mostly good things about this. There's a couple people who I had heard didn't like it, a friend of mine, and then apparently totally not Mark didn't like it. Um, and for having seen it now, I can genuinely say I have no idea what they are on, but they can keep it to themselves because this was phenomenal. Like, this is one of the MCU's best, in my opinion, in terms of the story and the continuation of everything we've been getting with the multiverse. Um, the just the characters and the cameos and all the multiversal travel and stuff. The introduction of America Chavez, she is amazing in this. Um, it was just, it was just amazing. Sam Raimi did an amazing job making what was, in a way, the MCU's first horror movie. It is very horror in its style, which that fits with Sam Raimi. Um, I love the music as well. Danny Elfman did the soundtrack, and Danny Elfman's always been great. Like, anytime Danny Elfman's on the soundtrack, it's gonna be great. Um, all the actors did a great job, all the new actors, all the returning ones. No complaints there. The visual effects were amazing. Yeah, it was just really good. And it was full of a lot of surprises, too. Not just with multiversal stuff, but with the actual main characters. There were a lot of things that I did not see coming. Like, even the trailers made certain aspects of the story seem like it was going to be one thing, and then completely went in the other direction. Um, and really surprised me. There was one specific thing, um, one specific point of the story, one specific major point of the story I did not know about going into this that took me so off guard in the best way that it was actually kind of really damn cool. So, that's my non spoiler thoughts, but we are definitely going to have to get into spoiler thoughts here. So, big spoiler warning from this point forward. We're going to be talking about big spoilers for the story, for the characters, for the cameos, for the post credit scenes, everything. We are going to be going into here. So, once again, spoiler warning. Spoilers from here on out. I will give you a countdown, and then we'll begin it just to let you know everything from this point forward will be spoilers. I'll probably actually tag up the video with timestamps so that you know when the spoiler stuff starts. But that being said, spoilers will start in 3, 2, 1, now. Holy fuck! I did not know Wanda was the villain of this. That caught me so fucking off guard. I watched trailers for this movie going in. I always watch the trailers for MCU films. There are some of the films I definitely watch trailers for. None of them told me that Wanda was going to be the villain. Like, yeah, they told me that, like, Wanda was still going to be struggling and everything, maybe. But, like, she was the actual villain of this film. Mind you, I would not call her evil. I would not call her a bad person, necessarily. But she was 100% the antagonist. She was 100% the main antagonizing force of this movie. And that was really cool to see. Though it does make the end of WandaVision feel a little weird, because with that, it's like, oh, I thought she was okay now. Well, not necessarily okay, but I thought she was in a better place. She was not. Since becoming the Scarlet Witch at the end of WandaVision, she's actually cracked a lot more. She's worse than she was in that. She's actually much worse. So the main plot of this is that Wanda is sending these monsters throughout the multiverse to catch this girl named America Chavez. America has the powers to travel through the multiverse, um, and Wanda wants to use her powers to capture, steal, and use her powers in order to find and habitate a universe where she can be with her sons, the sons that she created in WandaVision, but do exist in other universes. So Wanda is willing to go to any lengths to do this, including kill America Chavez, which would be kind of required in order to take her powers for herself. And she's willing to kill anyone who gets in her way as well. Steven, of course, doesn't like this, and basically the movie is these two kind of going at it while Steven is trying to protect America, and they go throughout the universes, the multiverse. It's wild. And let's talk about some of the cameos. We knew Professor X was going to be in this. He was in one of the trailers. Sir Patrick Stewart, phenomenal as always. When he first came out, they played a little bit of the X-Men 97 theme, and I geeked out hard. Like, I didn't like scream or anything in the theater, but I was geeking out. Because it was just such a cool idea to play a little bit of the X-Men 97 theme. And I actually met like the director of X-Men 97 at a convention back in February. And so it's like that was really cool. I went to a panel that he was doing. He was explaining the process of how they got the series off the ground and everything. He talked about the theme and all, and about the new. I think it's technically a continuation coming. That's coming to Disney Plus. I don't think it's a full-on reboot. I think it's technically a continuation. But either way. Yeah, it was just really cool hearing that. And the other members of the Illuminati, who is the group you see when you see Professor X in the trailer, was so cool. We have fucking live-action Captain Carter. I wanted that so much after seeing What If. I adored Captain Carter in What If, and she was just as great here. Haley Atwell did a phenomenal job playing the role in live action. We had Maria Rambeau, her version of Captain Marvel. We had Black Bolt, I think his name is, King of the Inhumans or something. I actually don't know his character, but I also don't know a lot about the Inhumans, so to be fair. His power is kind of like the one guy in Jujutsu Kaisen, I guess, though. Deadly speech and all. And mind you, I'm not that far into Jujutsu Kaisen, so I've only seen one instance of that power used, but still. It kind of reminded me of that, though, for sure. And the one that really caught me off guard, though, was John Krasinski as Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic of the Fantastic Four. I really hope that when they bring the Fantastic Four movie into the MCU, that they keep John Krasinski. Everyone wanted John Krasinski as Reed Richards, and he was great in the role. And John Krasinski's a phenomenal actor. We all know this. I think that he would just be perfect to keep in that role, and I hope they bring him back instead of recasting the character. I think he can really nail it. So, but there was also Baron Mordo. Granted, not the same Baron Mordo from our main universe of the MCU, but this universe that the Illuminati are in control of. We find out that the Doctor Strange of that universe created the Illuminati, brought together these heroes to create this panel, basically. And that eventually that Doctor Strange went rogue and kind of used the powers of the Darkhold to basically put his soul into the bodies of other Doctor Stranges in other universes, And this caused all sorts of problems, and because of that, another universe ended up collapsing, killing everyone in it. And so he resigned himself to his fate and allowed the rest of the Illuminati to kill him, basically. To just put it simply, kill him. Also, speaking of that, there is a lot of fucking death in this movie. Like, there is a lot of fucking death in this movie. And it doesn't really hold back. Sam Raimi really wanted to make it scary. Like, there's no, like, heavy gore or anything. But some of the deaths are actually pretty gruesome nonetheless. It was really shocking at certain points. Like, there's this one sorcerer who dies at one point who I don't know her name, but her death really was like, holy crap, that shook me a little bit. And it's just like, Jesus. And and when you see a couple of the different universe Doctor Stranges die, like the evil Strange, I think the subtitles on the trailer referred to him as Sinister Strange, who some of us had thought was the Strange from the What If series, but he wasn't. His death, like, he's just impaled on a fence, and it's like, oh fuck. And then there's one who earlier is just impaled by a giant monster that Wanda has sent after him. That's like right at the beginning of the film. And it's just like, oh, so that's what we're going for. And yeah, I want to say, I do not know how to pronounce the actress's name, but the actress who played America Chavez did such a phenomenal job. She honestly stole the show for me. I know a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, Wanda stole the show for them," or one of those many cameos might have, or even Doctor Strange himself. But no, for me, it was America Chavez. She had so much heart, believability, and just honestly realism to her character that I kind of felt like I connected with her fears, her pains, her emotions, and it's just like I really just I really connected with her. And it's these kind of characters I love to see, and we get to see her I guess you could say backstory, when she first discovered her powers, without being able to control them at the time, how she sent her mothers, because she does have two mothers, into the multiverse, and she has no idea where, and as she's been trying to find them. And in the comics, America Chavez is gay. She's a lesbian. They don't really touch on that in this film. There's not really time, if we're being honest. It's 2 hours and, well, 2 hours, 6 minutes. And with what's going on, they don't have time to really touch on that. But they do have the character wearing a pride pin on her jacket, and it's like they're still making it clear that she is gay. And the fact that she has two mothers and everything, and it's like it's just entirely accepted. Like, Doctor Strange doesn't even question it. He's just like, okay. It's not, it's just mentioned, and he's just like, he just accepts it instantly, and I love that. I love how it's just normal. It's just okay. Wong is great in this movie, but Wong's pretty much always great. Like, let's be honest, we all love Wong. Everybody loves Wong. And outside of the cameos you see in other universes, there aren't really many other characters from the actual MCU in this. It's really just Strange and Wanda that we see from, like, our actual mainline MCU. We don't see any other major characters. Again, outside of multiverse stuff, like, we see a different version of Captain Marvel. We see, instead of Captain America, we have Captain Carter. We see different versions, but never the same characters exactly. And that's interesting. It was more focused in on itself. It did mention Spider-Man. And it's interesting. Steven remembers who Spider-Man is. He just doesn't know that Spider-Man is Peter Parker. So that was actually a question I had after No Way Home. Like, the spell he was casting would just make everybody forget about Peter Parker. So my question after that movie was, okay, so would Steven still remember all the events of this just without knowing that Spider-Man was Peter Parker? And the answer is yes. He remembers everything that happened in No Way Home except that who Spider-Man was. He just knows him as Spider-Man, not as Peter Parker. So there's that. So Spider-Man technically is still part of the Avengers. Just none of them know his secret identity anymore. Which again, I've kind of said this before regarding the end of No Way Home. It's like he can just tell people again. It's like, yeah, he's clearly not going to tell, at least for now, MJ and Ned. But like with the other Avengers, he can reveal himself. He can tell them who he is again. That can all be like that can all be restarted basically. It's just I don't know how he's going to go about that. Um this movie really played around with its style. It made the effects and everything look fantastic. The first scene where they start traveling through the multiverse, like you see Strange and America traveling through like a shit ton of universes, like back to back. Just like going from like one universe, snap, second later, next universe, snap, and it's like they're just like falling, but like every second they're in a different universe. Like one, they're just made of paint, and they actually bring that up a little later. It's like, were we made of paint in that universe? And she's like, oh yeah, you don't want to go there. It's hard to eat. I love that's her reasoning. I love that that was her reasoning. But then there was like one that was like cartoon, and it's like they actually had a cartoon universe. Neat. um, they end up in this one universe though that is absolutely stunningly gorgeous. It's New York. It looks mostly the same except all the buildings and all the streets and everything are like covered in flowers and plants, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. The only other big difference that we saw is like, okay, some of the food is different, but also for street lights you walk on red instead of green, which they make a joke about. But and also in that universe has the Bruce Campbell cameo, and I just thought that was funny because it's Sam Raimi, and Bruce Campbell had cameos in his Spider-Man trilogy with Tobey Maguire, and now Bruce Campbell has a cameo in here. He's a street vendor named Pizza Papa, and he's there basically for a joke that does wrap up in one of the in the second post credit scene, which just wraps up the joke where because Strange had him basically hitting himself for I think it was 3 weeks, and in the second post credit scene you see where it finally ends, and he's like, and he looks at the screen and is like, it's over, and it was everybody who was still in the theater at that point laughed. But let's talk about the first post credit scene because that one was actually more important. So at the end of the film, after having used the Darkhold himself from a different universe, mind you, and he was able to save Wanda, not defeat her, save her from herself and allow her to see how wrong she was for what she was doing. He did have to use the Darkhold for that, and that's where the zombie Strange came in. He possessed the body of the dead Doctor Strange from the very beginning of the film, so that's how we got zombie Strange in this. But he had used the Darkhold to do that because he was trapped in another universe at the moment, and he because he used the Darkhold, it ends up affecting him. At the very end of the movie, before the credits start rolling, you see a third eye open on his head, which you also saw on Sinister Strange, who was using the Darkhold before our Steven. So that's really interesting, and I don't know exactly where that's going to go, but in the first post-credit scene, we see somebody come in. This woman in this purple outfit, she comes out from seemingly another universe or something, goes up to Steven and is like, you caused this other universe to collapse or whatever. I can't remember the word they used for that in the movie, but there was like a specific word for like collapsing other universes through doing this kind of thing. She's like, you caused this other universe to collapse. And then she opens up like a portal through the multiverse. Is like, you coming along to fix this, help me fix this? And it's like I have no idea who she was supposed to be. When she first appeared, my first thought was like, wait, no, that's is that the lady from the Eternals, Angelina Jolie? And then I looked at her. It's like, no, that's not her. Is it? No, no, it's not. I was like really confused for a moment. I don't know who she was supposed to be. Definitely a different outfit. Her power set looked different, and I don't think Thena, who the lady from the Eternals, I don't think Thena really knew about the multiverse. So I don't think any of that. I don't think that's connecting right now. But I don't know. Either way, this was a very exciting movie. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed how everything was done. I loved Wanda in it. Like, she had a great arc in it. Like, you understood her pain and why she was the bad guy, but at the same time, you also understood she was very much in the wrong. And you wanted to see her stopped and helped, which she did. And at the end, it kind of implies that she died, but I don't think she did. And I'm talking about the main universe's Wanda, of course. Kind of have to specify that. It kind of implies that she sacrifices herself to destroy the Darkhold in all the multiverse. Like, even Steven says that she's gone. But I don't know. It's like you're gonna kill off Wanda Maximoff. You're gonna kill off the Scarlet Witch. I don't. I don't believe that. Like, there was no stinger that told us that she'd probably still be alive. The only stinger at the end, like the only thing they said at the end, like during the credits, was Doctor Strange will be back. It's like, okay, yeah. They didn't say Wanda would be back or Scarlet Witch would be back. They said Doctor Strange would be back. And it's just like, okay, I don't believe you that she's dead. But what if she is, and what if, like, from this point forward, any Wanda we see is, like, from another universe? I don't know. There's a lot of questions. Um, but I loved, like, every moment of this film. I wish it was longer. Like, that's honestly my only complaint. And it's not, I'm not saying that the film was rushed. I definitely don't think it was. I just wish it was longer because I wanted to see more. I wanted to see more of the multiverse through this. I would love to have seen them go through maybe a couple more universes. Or hell, extend some of the fight scenes. Because honestly, the one thing I would say was rushed was Wanda taking on the members of the Illuminati. But I think that was just to show how powerful Wanda is, which we kind of know. How powerful the Scarlet Witch with her magic is. Like, yeah, we kind of understand that. Seeing the way she took them out, too, it's like, Jesus. Like, she literally unraveled Reed Richards until he was just gone. She, like, exploded Black Bolt's brain inside his head after stealing his mouth. Crushed Captain Marvel. Literally sliced Captain Carter in half with her own shield. And it's like, Jesus. I kind of wish it was a little longer just to have seen them in action a little more. We didn't see a lot of Reed Richards' powers, for example, his stretchy powers. We saw very little of those. Like, only very like basic. I think like less than 5 seconds, like throughout the entire time he was on screen. He wasn't really using them much. We saw plenty of Captain Carter in action and Captain Marvel, Rambeau's Captain Marvel. And we saw Black Bolt use his powers at one point in the flashback. We saw Professor X use his powers before he was killed as well. It's just like, Jesus. And Professor X just had his neck snapped by Wanda. At least that one was quick and not as freaky. It was still freaky. It was just, I don't know. I'm upset about how Captain Carter died. But yeah, I really loved this movie. I think this was probably one of the MCU's best. I don't understand how I don't understand the people who don't like this. They're entitled to their opinion. They're allowed their opinion. They're allowed to not like it. That's perfectly fine. I personally don't understand. And by the way, I did wear this shirt on purpose today. This Steven Universe shirt because the star also fits with America Chavez because that's what her multiversal portals are shaped like. We didn't see a lot of her other powers. We did see her super strength in the movie a bit. Not as much with her vulnerability and stuff. She was also yet a lot younger in the movie than she is in the comics and everything, and I guess because of it, not quite as sassy and typically badass. Um, but yeah, she was still fantastic, and for a different take on America Chavez than I'm used to with like the Marvel Rising animations, I still loved her. So yeah. But tell me in the comments below, what did you think of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, if you have seen it already? If you haven't seen it, why have you been listening to the spoiler thoughts? You definitely should go into this blind. But either way, let me know your thoughts, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.